output of refinery, gold refinery, and the output of the hallmarking center is totally a different issue, different product. Of course, in refinery, your customer is probably the in-house customer, means your production department, while in case of the hallmarking center, it is the registered jewelers. So in hallmarking center, you need to deal with the jewelry which is already manufactured, and you need to test it for the fineness, declared fineness. And if it matches the declared fineness, you have to mark it. That is known as the hallmark. While in case of the refinery, you need to deal with the dore gold, means the raw material, or maybe the scrap. Now, as you know that the gold rate are rising, and in the present situation, people are selling their jewelry. So the recycling of the gold is also plays a very important role in the time to come. Government is also focusing to reduce the import of the dore material or the refined bullion. So definitely in the time to come, the refining of the scrap material will play a very important role. So we think that there is a lot of demand at the council also to conduct such type of session, which will give little bit of knowledge for the beginners, or maybe the people, those who are running the refinery. There are a lot of refinery which is running in India. So they maybe come in line with the standardization, so that we can keep the flag of the country high at the international level. So by keeping this in mind, we have organized, or the GJPC has organized this webinar today. Hopefully those who have participated or those who have registered, probably they may be from the refinery field, or maybe they would like to enter into the refinery field. So what are the legal, what are the procedural modalities that is involved in setting up of the refinery? Because once you have decided to set up the refinery, definitely your goal may be to either to refine the scrap or either to import the dore gold. So now to import the dore gold, you need to take the DGFT license. Now, what is the prerequisite to get a DGFT license? That is the NABL accreditation is the first step. The second step is the BIS recognition, so that you can import the raw material. So these are the things, and people are worried about how to get the NABL accreditation, how to go with the BIS recognition. People are not very well aware about the procedural modalities of the accreditation as per ISO IEC 17025, which is for that the accreditation body in India is the NABL. So by keeping that in mind, we have invited Mr. Ram Prasad, who is Deputy Director of the National Accreditation Board, NABL. So we will continue with that part. But before we proceed ahead, I would like to request all the participants to please send your question in the question and answer tab. We will try to get the answer from the eminent speaker on the same question during our question and answer session. So please do not write your questions in the chat box. Please send your answers in the question and answer tab, which is given at the bottom of your screen. So if you have any question regarding the presentation made, you can write that question in the question and answer tab, so that we can take it at the end of the at the end of the presentation during the question and answer presentation session. But as you know that before going ahead, today we have with us Mr. Varun Kumar, who is the product manager of the Fisher Measurement Technologies India Private Limited. And as far as the setting up of the lab or the refinery, when I say setting up of the lab, means definitely from the NABL point of view, it is not only the fire as a lab, because this session is for the gems and jewelry sector also. So hopefully Mr. Ram Prasad will cover the aspect of the accreditation of the diamond laboratory also, because that need to be began in this era, because that parallel exercise is also going on at the government level. So how to get the accreditation or how to set up the diamond laboratory or accreditation for the diamond laboratory, that hopefully he will be able to cover in the presentation. But in case of refinery or in the hallmarking center, always there is a first place that you need to conduct the preliminary essay before you proceed further. because the whole process of the assay depends on the preliminary assay. What will be the percentage of the gold, or what is the content of the gold in your sample, what is the content of the silver in your sample, whether it is nickel or whether it is palladium or whether it is a deleterious element. So for that you need to have the preliminary assay before you proceed. Now for that there are various options given in the standard. Not necessarily that always you have to stick to the one options, but popularly the options with generally the refinery or the hallmarking center are following that for the preliminary assay is the XRF, because it is a non-destructive and it gives you the speedy results. So now I request Mr. Varun Kumar to throw some light on that area as far as the preliminary assay is concerned, so that the people will understand, even though those who are using the XRF, probably to use the XRF for the hallmarking center, to use the XRF for the refinery, there is a difference as far as the selection in the program is concerned, under which program you need to see the content. In hallmarking center, you have the fixed alloying element, maybe silver, copper, and the deleterious element. But while you come into the field of the refinery, or where the doré gold is the raw material, or the scrap is the raw material, then probably you need to check it with the whole alloy program, which cover all the elements, so that the people will get the idea how to proceed further. So based on my experience, I can say that in XRF, still the more awareness is required in terms of the calibration, in terms of the selection of the program like that. So to cover that aspect, I request you to please cover or throw some light on your technology for the preliminary assay. So over to you, Mr. Varun Kumar.
Thank you, Sameshji. I will just share my screen so that we can. Okay. Thank you for this opportunity to present on setting up of laboratories and refineries. So what I will be giving you is an overview about Fisher measurement technologies in India, and how we can support you in this process of setting up the labs or refinery centers. So we are basically a part of Helmut Fischer Group, which is based out of Sindelfingen, Germany. Coming to the locations, we are one of the direct subsidiary of Helmut Fischer, and we are a ISO 9001, 2008, 2015 certified company. What we do or we guarantee is basically service. Service is one of the most important aspects on which our company believes in. And what we go about doing is, or confirming is, any breakdowns or any service requirements which are there will be met within 3 to 48 hours. That is what we commit ourselves to doing. So we started our business in the year 1953. This just gives you an overview of how the business started. We started with basic gauges, and slowly we moved on to X-ray instruments, which I will be throwing light on, and how it can help you in your refining process as far as measurements are concerned. We also have our own calibration standards, which helps in calibrating these instruments more accurately. And then going on, we are now coming up with online measurement instruments, which can also be put in your inline processes and help you in measurements online, and giving you reports and all details which are required as far as the measurement is concerned. As far as India is concerned, we are located all across India. Our HO is basically in Pune, and we have regional offices and branch offices in, say, all the major metro cities. Like we have an office in Bangalore, Chennai, East in Calcutta, and Delhi. Now we are coming up with the latest office in Ahmedabad, which due to this COVID reason has been delayed a little bit, but the space is already identified and we will be starting operations soon. Now, what are the various customer segments that we cater to? So as a company, we are catering to all the different segments which is related to the jewelry market. So we, with our different range of products, we can support each of these segments.
वरुण जी प्लीज हिंदी इंग्लिश
ओके
मिक्स।
ओके फाइन। तो अभी हम थोड़ा गोल्ड रिफाइनिंग के बारे में बात करेंगे। बेसिकली हम लोग क्या सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं आपको। जैसे समीर जी ने पहले ही आपको बताया है कि हमारा फोकस बेसिकली टेस्टिंग इंस्ट्रूमेंट से है, तो हम क्या सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं। जो रॉ मटेरियल्स आता है टू आइडेंटिफाई कितना अमाउंट ऑफ गोल्ड है उसमें, सो द preliminary measurements which are done for these raw materials or scrap items which come can be done using an X-ray system. And then you can see in this particular flow chart, what we try to explain to you is the scrap can be any form of scrap which can come to you. And what we are helping, या हम उस चीज में मदद करेंगे कि आपको आइडेंटिफाई करके देंगे कि उसमें कितना परसेंटेज ऑफ गोल्ड है। अभी XRF system which is there is ideally used as the first stage of testing this. And why it is used is because it is fast and easy to manage. So the measurements, you can get these measurements say within 30 seconds or 60 seconds maximum, and with high accuracy, which is very close to what we can attain from a fire assay. And once the refining is done, you can actually cross verify with these XRFs again. And as I said, since the accuracy is very much near to what the fire assay reports give, so you can rely on these measurements to a great extent. अभी हम कौन कौन से एरिया में ये XRF बेसिकली यूज करते हैं। सो सिंस दिस इज अ नॉन डिस्ट्रक्टिव मेथड and it can be used for various identification of gold alloys, silver alloys, platinum group of elements, or say you can also analyze the impurities like iridium, ruthenium या platinum group जो होता है elements जो mix होते हैं अलग अलग सैंपल्स में। तो जैसे आप स्क्रैप के बारे में बोलते हैं तो उसमें कुछ भी मेटल आ सकता है। तो हम क्या करते हैं, हमारा एक पर्टिकुलर एप्लीकेशन है जिसमें हम लोग ने ये सब एलिमेंट्स को डिफाइन किया हुआ है। तो आप ये यूज करके आप इजीली आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं कि उसमें बेसिकली कितने इम्प्योरिटीज है या क्या मिक्स किया हुआ है। तो इसमें क्या होता है, चीटिंग या कोई तरह का कुछ भी एलिमेंट्स मिक्स हो जो आप लोग कि नॉर्मल गोल्ड में ना हो, तो वो डायरेक्टली आप आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं। सिमिलरली हम डेकोरेटिव कोटिंग्स में भी ध्यान देते हैं। तो जैसे रोडियम कोटिंग होता है जनरली गोल्ड पे, उसको और प्रेजेंट करने के मींस और इम्प्रूव करने के लिए, सो वी हैव in our instruments the facility to even measure these rhodium thickness, which will actually help in your measurement process. Similarly, we can also do coating thickness. This is one of the major advantage of using our instruments. Plus we also do solution रहेगा आपके पास कुछ solution है और उसमें आपको चेक करना है कि gold है, presence of gold है या silver है, तो वो भी आप इस instrument से कर सकते हैं। अभी since इसमें बहुत सारे import या बाहर से गोल्ड आता है या हम एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं, तो हम हमारा इंस्ट्रूमेंट फॉर ROHS जो रेस्ट्रिक्टेड एलिमेंट्स है जो गोल्ड में नहीं होना चाहिए ड्यूरिंग एक्सपोर्ट, वो भी आप ये इंस्ट्रूमेंट यूज करके चेक कर सकते हैं। हमारा रेंज ऑफ प्रोडक्ट्स अगर आप देखेंगे, ये स्टार्ट करता है डिफरेंट ट्यूब से। सो वी आर अ कंपनी जिसके पास डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ ट्यूब्स है। सो वी हैव अ प्रोपोर्शनल काउंटर, डिटेक्टर, or a SI pin detector and or the SDD detectors. Now we are also working on technology to improve these measurement techniques also. So the SDD is also now being upgraded or upgraded to a DPP plus, which will actually help you in measurement of very low concentration elements also and detection and more fast and precise measurement. We have instruments, अगर आपके पास manufacturing units है और आपको आपका जो मेजरमेंट साइकिल्स वो ज्यादा है, तो आप हमारा XY प्रोग्रामेबल स्टेज वाले इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स यूज कर सकते हैं, जिसको आप डायरेक्टली मल्टीपल सैंपल्स एक साथ लगा के आप टेस्ट करके आपको रिजल्ट्स एकदम इन अ फास्ट रेट यू कैन डू द मेजरमेंट्स. Similarly, we also have multiple voltage and filters with these instruments, which will actually help you in analyzing better and giving you much repeatable, highly repeatable measurements. We have both the options as bottom to up or top to down instruments, which will also be useful. And last but not the least, the benchtop instruments. Now coming to, so what we basically guarantee is the precision and reliability of all these instruments, all the measurements which are done with these instruments. And just to give you a brief about the installation base or the market segments that we cater to, you can basically see we have sold more than 4,000 instruments throughout in the market. Our major sales or majority of the instruments which are being catered to is basically for the assaying and refining. So this is a big industry segment which is there in India, and we are basically leaders as far as these particular segment is concerned. So now coming to the instrument, basically, which are the instrument which we basically propose, या जो instrument सबसे ज़्यादा use होता है ये particular market में है Goldscope SD 520 या 550. इसमें एडवांटेज ये है कि ये यूजर फ्रेंडली बेंचटॉप इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स है जिसमें आपको कुछ मटेरियल प्रिपरेशन या कुछ भी करने की जरूरत नहीं है. आप सैंपल सीधा रख सकते हैं, आपको एक मेजरमेंट स्पॉट दिखा जाता है, वहां पे आप रखिए. हम आपको कैमरा भी अलॉट करते हैं जहां पे आप देख सकते हैं कि आप कौन से एरिया में मेजर कर रहे हैं. हम खाली ये रेकमेंड करते हैं कि आप अपने गोल्ड को थोड़ा स्क्रैच करें ताकि आपको मेजरमेंट्स बहुत अच्छा या रिपीटेबल मिले, और उसमें अगर कुछ इंप्योरिटीज लगी हो तो वो क्लीन हो जाए. इसमें हमारे पास अगर आप 520 के साथ जाएंगे तो ये एक सिंगल कॉलीमीटर इंस्ट्रूमेंट है विच विल बी अराउंड 1 mm, और अगर आप 550 मेजर डिफरेंस अगर बोले तो उसमें 4 कॉलीमीटर्स आते हैं, तो बेसिकली रेंजिंग फ्रॉम 0.2 to 2 mm. तो वो आपको और डिफरेंट टाइप्स और वैरायटीज ऑफ ज्वेलरी या स्क्रैप मटेरियल या आपका फाइन गोल्ड बार्स है वो आप मेजर कर सकते हैं. उसमें डिटेक्शन ऑफ पीजीएम ग्रुप मेटल्स आप आराम से कर सकते हैं. जैसे समीर जी ने स्टार्टिंग में भी बोला, हम इसमें एप्लीकेशन ऐसे डेवलप करते हैं जिसमें आप सब एलिमेंट्स मोस्टली कवर हो जाता है जो गोल्ड में मिक्स होता है, तो वो यूज करके आप आपको इजीली अगर आप मेजरमेंट करते हैं तो विद इन 30 सेकेंड्स आपको पता चल जाता है कि इसमें क्या क्या एलिमेंट्स है, विच कैन एक्चुअली हेल्प यू इन आइडेंटिफाइंग कि कितना परसेंटेज ऑफ गोल्ड मिलेगा. सिमिलरली न्यू हम लोग ने, जैसे मैंने आपको पहले भी बताया, न्यू डीपीपी प्लस जो इंस्ट्रूमेंट है, इससे आपको ये सपोर्ट मिलेगा कि आप और द मेजरमेंट साइकिल है या मेजरमेंट टाइम है इसको भी हम रिड्यूस कर सकते हैं विद द सेम एक्यूरेसी, और इसमें हम आपको और भी ज्यादा रिपीटेबल मेजरमेंट्स भी कर सकते हैं. अभी हम लोग एक नया डिटेक्टर भी ला रहे हैं जो 50 mm स्क्वायर डिटेक्टर है, विच विल एक्चुअली इम्प्रूव द प्रिसिशन ऑल्सो, बिकॉज आपको ज्यादा एरिया मिल रहा है तो ज्यादा काउंट्स मिलेंगे जिससे आपका मेजरमेंट और भी एक्यूरेट हो. तो ये एक न्यू टेक्नोलॉजी आ रहा है. देन आई हैड टोल्ड यू इनिशियली, हम लोग का जो ट्रेसेबिलिटी रिजल्ट्स है या कैलिब्रेशन स्टैंडर्ड्स जो हम यूज करते हैं, दीज आर ऑल एक्रेडिटेड बाय DAX लैबोरेटरीज इन जर्मनी. तो वी आल्सो फॉलो द DIN ISO स्टैंडर्ड्स. तो ये यूज करके हमारा स्टैंडर्ड्स आता है which are used, which can be used for the calibration of these instruments. So this will ensure that the measurements which are being done is as per the international standards or as per can be having a traceability. So some of the leading references for labs across the world, you can see we have been supplying to almost all the different assaying labs or which are there globally. So it is not that Fisher is, there are means XRF is the only technology which is being used or something like that. There are other technologies, but XRF is being preferred because it gives you a fast and repeatable measurement. And since the accuracy is near to the fire assaying, people rely on this. And because it is a non-destructive test, many people or many labs are relying on the XRF itself. So some of the major advantages, as we can see here, since we use a single application, you can have a measurement of elements, anything between aluminum to uranium. But for the gold, we basically define a set of applications which will be used. It can also be used for any kind of metal coatings. So you can also identify the coatings. The only limitation what we can say is the thickness or the penetration depth in the XRF. That is one of the limitation. The XRF will not penetrate deep. it will only be a surface testing. So basically, that is one of the limitation. And measurement of underneath alloy composition is also not possible in case if the coating is very thick. So these are the two limitations. But other than that, if you see, the advantages are much high. And with the report generation and all kind of MIS generation, which is possible with the XRF, this is one of the must be instruments in your refining or laboratory application. So why partner with Fisher? Basically, we are a global company. We have traceability. You can see, as I said, we have traceable standards which can help you in ensuring that the measurements are correct. We have a national presence as far as sales and service is concerned. Since we are a global company and having a direct subsidiary in India, you can say the total cost of ownership is always there. We will always be there to support our customers. The investment, so as far as security, which is one of the major concerns in today's world, as far once the investment is done, that is always there because we are as a company committed to provide service. We have the application know-how. You can see, as I mentioned, the different labs or centers which are connected. So worldwide, we have an application tool from where we can support you with any kind of application. So this is one of the main reasons why we look forward to partnering you. And I thank you for this opportunity once again. And I hand over the. Thank you.
So, thank you, Mr. Varun. आपने XRF के एडवांटेज और डिसएडवांटेज बहुत क्लियरली बताए, एंड यू राइटली सेड कि ये सरफेस मेजरमेंट के लिए है, और डीप अगर कोटिंग है, डीप कोटिंग है, तो देन इट इज अ लिमिटेशन. योर presence at the world level, and it is a non-destructive testing. So thank you once again for throwing the lights on the preliminary essay part.
Thank you, sir.
Now, dear friends, today we have with us Mr. Ram Prasad. Ram Prasad ji basically engineering graduate है from Anna University, Chennai. He has worked with the multinational companies and accreditation bodies with the experience of about 15 years in the area of testing and accreditation. He is having expertise in accreditation, European Union and US federal regulations and international standard in consumer product safety and integrity. He is an assessor for the conformity assessment standard ISO IEC 17025 also. And currently in this field, he is very well aware about this field because I knew him personally. He is associated with the accreditation of the gold refinery and the diamond laboratory since long in the NABL. And currently he is working as a deputy director in the NABL. So he knew the intricacy of the refinery, and he has gone through the various documentation of the gold refinery also, as well as the hallmarking center also. So he is very well aware about the operations of the refinery in the hallmarking center. Sir, correct me if I am wrong. So today we are fortunate, आज हम सदनसीब है कि उनके जैसे एक्सपीरियंस पर्सन आज हमारे बीच में है, हमको गाइड करने के लिए कि जनरली क्या है कि हमारा जो फील्ड है वो फील्ड ऐसा है कि लोग बिजनेस करना जानते हैं, लेकिन गुजरातियों में और जनरली जो ये हमारा फील्ड है वो अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर होने की वजह से जब कागज पत्ती आती है ना, जब कागज के ऊपर कुछ लिखने का आता है ना, तो हम थोड़ा उससे डिस्टेंस कर देते हैं. तो इसीलिए ये जो प्रोसीजरल मॉडलिटीज है, चाहे वो BIS की हो, चाहे वो NABL की हो, उसके लिए हमको किसी ना किसी को ढूंढना पड़ता है. लेकिन वो चीजें इतनी हार्ड नहीं है कि आप खुद नहीं कर सकते. तो उसी को ध्यान में रखते हुए आज हमने उनको रिक्वेस्ट किया था, उनको इनवाइट किया था. एंड ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ द GJEP से आई एम आल्सो थैंकफुल टू द NABL मैनेजमेंट and to spare Mr. Ram Prasad, Deputy Director NABL, to throw some light on the procedural modalities of getting the accreditation in line with the 17025/2017 for the lab, for the refinery as well as the diamond laboratory. So, sir, now I request you कि आप अपना प्रेजेंटेशन शेयर करके आपके व्यू प्रदर्शित करें।
Thank you, Samir sir, for your introduction. Very good evening to all. Whether my screen is visible, sir?
Yes, yes, it is
Yes.
Visible.
Yeah, sir. And JPC and Samir sir for inviting us as a speaker for this webinar. So thank you very much for the same. And I thank Enable management also for accepting and allowing me to be as a speaker for this webinar. And today's my topic would be on the accreditation of precious metal and precious stone testing laboratories. That is, I'm covering both the gold or silver testing laboratories and the diamond grading or gemological laboratories also. So this I'm mentioning that these laboratories will cover both the laboratories coming under the gold refineries, hallmarking center, and their laboratories it's inside the jewelries, and also who are running the third-party testing laboratories, and for diamond grading laboratories also. So throughout my presentation, so I will be covering some introduction about NABL, and for the laboratory, what all for operation, whatever it is required basically, and for implementation of the management system of the laboratory, so whatever is required in general, and what is the accreditation process, how to get accreditation. So these are generally I'm going to cover during this webinar. So first of all, what is NABL? NABL, who is NABL and what NABL does? So as Samir sir told, the full form of NABL is National Accreditation Board for Testing and Calibration Laboratories. So NABL is one of the board under Quality Council of India, which is we call as QCI. It is an autonomous body under Department for Promotion of Industries and Internal Trade and the Ministry of Commerce. And NABL is established with the objective to provide government and industries with a conformity assessment scheme through the third-party assessment of conformity assessment bodies. Conformity assessment bodies, the testing, calibration, or medical laboratory. And NABL is also the full MREA signatory to APAC and ILAC, that is Asia Pacific Laboratory, Asia Pacific Accreditation Cooperation, and the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation since 2000. So this MREA, this recognition will facilitate the NABL accredited laboratories test report will be accepted globally. That is wherever the MREA ABC is presented in other countries. So this test report given by the NABL accredited lab would be acceptable internationally. And NABL provides accreditation to the laboratories in non-discriminatory manner. So even it is a big or small laboratory, a refinery or hallmarking center, or is a government private laboratory, the requirement of accreditation would be the same. There would be no any discriminatory during the accreditation process. So NABL is operating in accordance with international standard, that is ISO IEC 17011. That is a general requirement for the accreditation body who is accrediting the conformity assessment bodies. Like how the laboratory is operating as per ISO IEC 17025. Or generally any organization is operating ISO 9001 or any different management system standard. So likewise, NABL is operating its accreditation program as per ISO IEC 17011. And NABL accreditation program is a purely voluntary in nature, so it is not a mandatory program. But still, some government departments or any departments, any ministry can make government this NABL accreditation mandatory. For example, BIS has made mandatory to get NABL accreditation for refineries who want to get BIS license. And for example, FSSAI had made NABL accreditation for mandatory for testing of food-related items. And Export Inspection Council, like EAEC, has made for their sector laboratories. Likewise, NABL in general it is not a mandatory program; it is a voluntary program. Also, NABL gives accreditation in 5 different fields. That is testing laboratories, where, for example, diamond testing or precious metal testing or any food testing or any testing laboratories, and calibration laboratories. So both testing and calibration laboratories in accordance with ISO IEC 17025, their standard, and medical laboratories with the standard 15189, and proficiency testing program and reference material producer. So these are the areas where Enable gives accreditation. So now what is accreditation? So the accreditation definition is given in my slide. There are different terminology are using in the recognition the activity, like accreditation, certification, approval, different things. But coming to the laboratory, the most the appropriate thing as far as Enable is also concerned, so accreditation is the appropriate thing. The definition of accreditation is it is a third-party attestation of conformity assessment. There is conformity assessment means testing or calibration. It is a conformity assessment of conformity assessment bodies conveying the formal demonstration to carry out the specific task. And certification is different and accreditation is different. So what the main difference is, in certification, there will be the technical competency will be verified. Like in accreditation, में technical competency verify करेगा. Accreditation, the certification only about the system part, but the accreditation covers both system part and technical competency also. So coming to what is the benefit of getting accreditation? Like as usual, generally about how management system certification. Accreditation will have one step ahead, which covering the technical competent answers. That's why it will increase the confidence in test report issued by any laboratory. For example, if any diamond testing laboratory giving the diamond test grading report, or any assaying lab is giving assay report. So if it is any accredited laboratory, then the customer will have a confidence on the test report. So this is another benefit, and also international recognition. When your customer of the laboratory is exporting their product, so it will be benefiting for them to recognize their test report they are showing to the customers, and assess the global market. So time and money efficient. So enhance the customer confidence, as I told in the beginning, and it will increase the good practice of the laboratory management system. It will make it robust, and continual improvement in the process of the laboratory operation. And the accreditation gives the better control on the laboratory operations, and it assures the quality and the reliability of the test results. This is general about the benefit of getting accreditation. And field of accreditation, the Enable gives accreditation, as I told in the beginning, we give 5 different field. In the field, there are each discipline also. For testing example, chemical, biological, fluid flow, electrical, electronics, mechanical. The same way for calibration, same way for medical also. And in testing, if the laboratory is of precious metal, who is testing gold or silver assay, so that will comes under chemical discipline. And for precious stones like diamonds or the studded jewelry testing laboratory comes under the mechanical discipline. And same way for the different disciplines for proficiency testing programs and reference material producers. An accreditation standard for laboratory, the applicable accreditation standard is ISO IEC 17025. It's international standard, and it's about general requirement for competency of testing and calibration laboratories. So these standards will give the requirements about how it should be the laboratory, covering from its management system, personnel, equipment, and its how it could be reporting and management. Everything is covering the standard. And yeah, and then there's some important slide here. It is about prerequisites. When there is a laboratory, so what for operational laboratory, what the basic thing it should be there. And the first important thing is legal identity. The lab should be the legal entity and should have legally registered. So laboratory तो ये legally registered होना चाहिए. लीगल रजिस्टर मतलब अगर ये प्राइवेट लिमिटेड तो ये कंपनीज एक्ट अंडर रजिस्टर होना चाहिए. ये पार्टनरशिप तो ये पार्टनरशिप एक्ट के अंडर रजिस्टर होना चाहिए. अगर ये प्राइवेट सिंगल ओनरशिप तो ये कोई आईडी प्रूफ चलेगा. कोई आईडी प्रूफ ऑफ ओनर और बैंक स्टेटमेंट like that document can be submitted as a legal identity. This is an important thing. And first requirement of the standard is the legal identity. It should be there. And second, next is personal. The personal specific to the testing personnel of the laboratory. It is most important. The personnel should be competent to perform the specific test. And you should have a knowledge in the standard, whatever standard. I'm coming to the for gold assaying of gold. So he should know the procedure of starting from the sampling. There are different techniques. Samplings are telling in the standard, like dip sampling, cut sampling, drilling. So he should know all the type of the samplings and how to test, how to proceed in the test, and how to prepare the sample, and what are the reagents, and how to load it in the cupellation furnace, and what is the criteria for at the end we need to find out the delta value and the repeatability value. So that personnel should aware all these things, and he should able to produce the result, valid result, in accordance with the standard of what is telling. For example, IS 1418 I have told. The same way for if it is coming to the diamond grading laboratory, we should have the technical knowledge and we should have an understanding about the grading of the precious stones. It may be the color grading, it may be the clarity, it may be the cut, or whatever it may be. You should have the complete knowledge about the testing and should be trained and experienced. So the personal is the most important thing. Next, coming to the testing standard. Testing standard or test method which is used, simply we can tell is procedure for testing. This can be used for testing of the metals or the stones. If it is for gold, it is IS 1418 or IS 21134 for silver, or the ISO 15096 or 15093 for the instrumentation method. If it is a diamond, it is IS 15766 or IS 4134. So these are some standard I have told as an example. So whatever the test method you are following, you should have the relevant standard in the laboratory. So labs will follow the same standard while following the testing methods. And next, coming to the equipment. So equipment it should be as per the specification of the standard. So I have received many query about some lab will ask, so I am using this model of equipment or I using this company's equipment, whether this is okay for this. But it is not about the model or not about the make. It's about the specification, what the standard is telling. For example, if you see the again I'm coming back to the IS 1418, it is telling during preliminary essay, it should detect some of the elements. What should be silver is there? How much quantity of silver is there? So that equipment should be capable to detect silver. And for coming to cupellation furnace, they are telling about it should be the temperature range should be this much, and it should the equipment should capable to achieve that. And the same way for the weighing balance. So whatever equipment, it should be as per the standard, specified in the standard. And next thing for equipment, it should be calibrated from the calibration laboratory for weighing balance or anything, whatever your equipment is using. So to ensure the measurement is whatever the measurement giving by the equipment is correct, or whatever the equipment functionality is correct, it's, the calibration is the very foremost important thing. For that, the equipment should be calibrated, and that too from the accredited laboratory. And coming to next is reagent. So reagent, it may be the chemical, it may be any consumable using during the testing. So this should also should be there as per what the test method is specifying. For example, it may be the nitric acid, or any distilled water, anything it may be. And next thing is the any master stone or any reference standard which you are using for the testing, and it should be the proper traceability should be there. For example, if you are using any thermometer or any dead weights which you are using to verify your weighing balance or verifying your furnaces or verifying your any the heated solutions. So for that standard which you are using for the, as a thermometer using reference standard, so that need to be calibrated, and that should be with the full range of your usage. And coming to master stone, the master stone it should be an purchased master stone itself, not like you are purchasing some set of stone in the market and sending to the some lab and getting it tested, and that you cannot be used as a master stone. The master stone itself separately it is there from the reputed the institution, so it should be from the master stone itself rather than purchasing the stones individually. And whatever the point I have told so far is then the basic requirement of the laboratory operational. So above this, when the laboratories want to implement this management system in the laboratory, so next point you will be covering those aspects. That is the system manual or quality manual. This quality manual and the system manual should be covered address the requirement of ISO 17025. This is the standard which is applicable for the accreditation of the laboratories. And next is coming to the proficiency testing program or inter-laboratory comparison. So proficiency program and IELTS inter-laboratory comparison is about one of the tool for the quality control activity. So this will show the competency of the laboratory. So through this, also any laboratory competency can be judged. So PT program, what is PT program means? PT provider will be there on organization. They will send samples to the participant lab, all the participant laboratories. So that laboratory has to test the sample and send the result back to the PT provider. And PT provider will just compile the result, and they will give back the performance of that particular participant laboratory, how they are proficient with this testing. And the same way for interlabor comparison, it is like wherever there is no PT provider is available. For example, if we take in diamond grading, there is no PT provider is available. So for that, what lab can do, they can send samples to 5 or 6 different laboratories and get back the result, and you can compare the laboratory result with other laboratories. This is one type of comparison. And next, had to do internal audit. So internal audit is one of the requirement of the ISO 17025 standard. So during internal audit, what the requirement is, the laboratory is verifying their own system by their own. It is a one person, or they can hire the person from outside to do their internal audit. And during internal audit, it should be independent, done by independent. For example, the quality manager should not do that audit of his own activity. He has implemented his system, and he cannot audit his own system. And for the same way, technical manager, he cannot audit his own the technical part. So it can be the quality manager can audit technical part, or technical manager can audit the quality part. By that way, the independency will be maintained. And next is the management review. So management review is one of the requirement of the standard. This the performance of the laboratory need to be reviewed in front of the top management. And agenda of this the management review is given in the standard itself. So lab can use that agenda. The lab has to use that agenda to conduct their management review. So these are the prerequisites for any laboratories concerned. And for the laboratory setup, and for that going for accreditation also. So sir, anything you want to add in Samir, anything you want to add in? Anything you want to add? Because I have covered mostly in English, that's why You want anything, give input
हाँ,
in our local
मैं जस्ट
language?
थोड़ा उनको ब्रीफ कर देता हूँ हिंदी में,
हाँ सर।
2-3 मिनट में। सर ने ये बोला कि अगर आपको 1702/2017 के हिसाब से एक्रेडिटेशन लेना है रिफाइनरी का, जो कि डीजीएफटी का लाइसेंस लेने के लिए प्री रिक्विजिट है, तो एक्रेडिटेशन के लिए प्री रिक्विजिट क्या है? सबसे पहले तो आपकी लेबोरेटरी की एक लीगल आइडेंटिटी होनी चाहिए, या आपकी रिफाइनरी की एक लीगल आइडेंटिटी होनी चाहिए, कि जिसमें आपको या तो एलएलपी है, या प्रोप्राइटरशिप फर्म है, या प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी से, तो उसके डॉक्यूमेंट आपको रखने पड़ेंगे या रजिस्टर करना पड़ेगा। दूसरा कि आपको पर्सनल, मतलब जनरली जब भी हम डिसाइड करते हैं कि भाई मुझे रिफाइनरी बनानी है या मुझे एक लेबोरेटरी सेटअप करनी है, तो सबसे पहले तो कौन से टेस्ट मेथड के हिसाब से आपको वो एक्रेडिटेशन लेना है, क्योंकि सर ने बताया कि 1418 है जो इंडियन स्टैंडर्ड है गोल्ड टेस्टिंग के लिए, आईएसओ स्टैंडर्ड भी है, एएसटीएम स्टैंडर्ड भी है। तो आप कौन से स्टैंडर्ड के हिसाब से आपको आपकी लेबोरेटरी सेट करनी है, उस हिसाब से आपको इक्विपमेंट लेना पड़ेगा कि जो स्टैंडर्ड के स्पेसिफिकेशन को मीट करे। इक्विपमेंट की पर्सनल मीन्स डेफिनेटली कि जब आप कोई भी लेबोरेटरी या रिफाइनरी शुरू करते हैं तो आपको काम करने वाले आदमी चाहिए। तो वो पर्सनल के लिए सर ने ये बताया कि उनकी जो स्टैंडर्ड की रिक्वायरमेंट है उसमें आपको क्वालिफाइड पर्सनल चाहिए, क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली जब भी असेसमेंट होता है तो वो पर्सनल को वही इक्विपमेंट पे वही स्टैंडर्ड के हिसाब से काम करके अपनी कॉम्पिटेंसी को प्रूव करना होता है। तो आपको एक उस हिसाब से पर्सनल चाहिए। डायमंड लेबोरेटरी के बारे में सर ने बताया कि मास्टर स्टोन या रेफरेंस स्टैंडर्ड की जो स्टैंडर्ड में लिखा हुआ है उस हिसाब से आपको रखना पड़ेगा। ये आपकी हो गई सब ज्यादातर टेक्निकल रिक्वायरमेंट कि शुरू करने से पहले या अप्लाई करने से पहले आपको क्या करना है। दूसरी रिक्वायरमेंट है मैनेजमेंट की रिक्वायरमेंट। आपको एक क्वालिटी मैन्युअल आपका बना हुआ होना चाहिए कि आपकी जो लेबोरेटरी है रिफाइनरी किस हिसाब से काम करेगी। साथ साथ में एप्लीकेशन करने से पहले सर ने बताया कि प्रोफिशिएंसी टेस्टिंग प्रोग्राम भी होता है। तो गोल्ड फील्ड में तो प्रोफिशिएंसी टेस्टिंग प्रोग्राम एक्रीडेटेड पीटी प्रोवाइडर गोल्ड फील्ड में है। तो उनका जो प्रोफिशिएंसी टेस्टिंग प्रोग्राम होते हैं उसमें आपको पार्टिसिपेट करना होगा, और आपकी लेबोरेटरी की कॉम्पिटेंसी आपको पीटीपी के हिसाब से भी प्रूव करनी होगी। अगर डायमंड फील्ड की बात करें तो सर ने बताया कि डायमंड फील्ड में कोई पीटी एक्रीडेटेड पीटी प्रोवाइडर एज ऑन डे इंडिया में या आई थिंक इन द वर्ल्ड में भी नहीं है। तो उसमें बहुत सारी जो क्रेडिबल लेबोरेटरीज है इंडिया में या वर्ल्ड के बाहर भी, तो वहां पे आपको अपना डायमंड बेच के उनके टेस्ट रिपोर्ट आपको इंटर लेबोरेटरी कंपैरिजन करना पड़ेगा। एप्लीकेशन करने से पहले आपको आपकी लेबोरेटरी या रिफाइनरी सेटअप करके उसका इंटरनल ऑडिट करके देन आपको मैनेजमेंट रिव्यू मीटिंग जो 1702/2017 की रिक्वायरमेंट है उस हिसाब से करना पड़ेगा। इतनी चीज रेडी हो जाएगी मीन्स आपने आपकी लीगल आइडेंटिटी हो गई, आपने पर्सनल हायर कर लिए, आपने टेस्ट मेथड डिसाइड कर लिया, आपने इक्विपमेंट परचेज करके उसको ऑपरेशनल कर दिया, आपने रीएजेंट्स ले लिए, आपका क्वालिटी मैन्युअल रेडी है, आपने पीटी या आईएलसी में पार्टिसिपेट कर लिया, आपका इंटरनल ऑडिट और मैनेजमेंट रिव्यू हो गया, देन यू आर रेडी फॉर द एप्लीकेशन। ठीक है सर?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So then after when all the laboratory has fulfilled all these requirements, then when they are ready for this with all these aspects, then lab can apply for accreditation through online. So for applying accreditation through online, now all the process of accreditation is through online itself. It is entire accreditation process is paperless. So what a lab is applying through online, and our assessment is also going to be conducted through the Android app, and all the ANCs, what lab going to submit corrective actions, or what the reply is going to be given by the lab, and everything will be through online, including the issue of certificate. So for that, there is a website of NABL, nabl-india.org. After opening Enable website, at the bottom, on the middle of the page, you can find one tab. This is apply now for Enable accreditation. So by clicking that, it will redirect to the Enable web portal. So from then, lab can start filling the applications. So this is just I'm showing where the application is available in Enable website. once the application, this is accreditation process, entire process given in this slide. Once the lab has applied for accreditation, then what it will be the process. After receiving enable at enable, first we will send you the acknowledgement through portal, through email notification. In the application notification, there will be an the lab ID will be there, and your application will be allocated to any particular officer who will be dealing with your lab for the entire this application process. So after the application accreditation acknowledgement is done for application, then it will be next process is document review. So document review is during application, the lab has to submit the quality manual also along with the application. So during the document review, the quality manual and the application will be verified by enable. Enable will verify the content of the application and the lead assessor will verify both the quality manual and the application. So lead assessor will verify the quality manual against the requirement of the standard ISO IEC 17025, whether the quality manual is addressing all these requirement of the standard or not. So after the enable and lead assessor has given the comment on document review, the comment will be forwarded to the laboratory for taking any action on that. If there is any comment given by the lead assessor on the quality manual, so lab has to take a corrective action. They have to amend the quality manual according to the comment, and it need to be submitted back to NABL. So for taking corrective action, we will be giving the 15 days time for submitting corrective action. So after this, if there is no any comment is observed during the document review, or the document reviews comment is adequately addressed, then we will go to the next process. Next process pre-assessment. So the pre-assessment is optional now. But during the pre-assessment, one lead assessor will be visiting. And the purpose of the pre-assessment is just to verify the laboratory's readiness for final assessment. So instead of directly going into the final assessment for the new lab, instead of directly going into the final assessment, so it may be useful for the lab to go pre-assessment and to check their readiness preliminarily. So the pre-assessment will be conducted for 1 day, and after pre-assessment report will be submitted to NABL and copied to the laboratory. If any discrepancy, any non-conformity is observed during the pre-assessment, so for taking the corrective action, the 15 days time will be given to the lab for taking satisfactory corrective action. After taking satisfactory corrective action, or if there is no non-conformities observed during the pre-assessment, then we will go for the next step. It is a final assessment. So assessment means it is audit, simply in terms of audit. So during the final audit, there will be one lead assessor, one lead auditor, and one technical auditor. Generally, it will be carried out for 2 days. So what lead assessor? Lead assessor will do, will verify the competency of the laboratory in terms of management system part. And he will verify all the records, the quality manual, and the implementation of the system with the laboratory. And the technical assessor will verify the technical competence of the lab. How he will see the test witness also. How any person, the testing personnel is competency. How he is doing the sampling. How he will weighing the samples. And how he is loading in the decupulation furnace. And how he will taking out. And he will distribute. So all the aspects of any test, the technical assessor will witness the test, starting from the sample preparation to reporting of results. And in addition to this, the technical assessor will verify the other technical aspects like equipment calibration, the availability of the particular equipments, and the availability of suitable the reagents and other materials also. It will be verified. So generally, as I told, it will be done for 2 days. So at the end of the assessment report will be submitted in NABL and copied to the lab. So if any non-conformity is raised during this final assessment, so for that 30 days time will be given for taking corrective action by the laboratory. So after taking the corrective action by the laboratory, or if there is no non-conformance observed during the final assessment, So next, the entire thing will be scrutiny by NABL. Assessment report and non-conformities raised by the assessment team and the corrective action submitted by the lab, everything will be reviewed by the NABL secretariat. And that report, whatever the review report, will be submitted to the accreditation committee. So accreditation committee consists of the different members from the expert. In fact, so they are from the different areas, which will cover all the areas like chemical testing, mechanical testing, everything will be there. Composition of different things will be there. Who will review the assessment report and the corrective action taken by the laboratory. If everything is found satisfactory, then the accreditation committee members will give a recommendation on grant of accreditation, or it may be otherwise. So after the recommendation of committee, so it will go to the approval of CEO NABL. So once CEO NABL approved, the accreditation will be granted to the lab, and certificate will be issued. So this is the general the process of accreditation from the application to renewal, issue of certificate. So during the each process, if any additional document is required, any clarification is required, so enable to communicate to the lab and to get the feedback and communicate to the assessor and again get the feedback. And sometimes assessor and any lab also communicated for getting any some clarification or any additional information. So that will be possible throughout this assessment process. So the accreditation certificate, whatever accreditation certificate is given, that will be valid for 2 years period. And during this, throughout this 2 years cycle, there will be one annual surveillance will be there. It will be after 10 to 12 months from the date of accreditation. So this surveillance will be mostly through the desktop surveillance. So desktop means NABL will ask some set of documents through portal, and lab has submitted the documents like the previous audit, the findings and how lab has implemented the corrective action, and internal audit, management review, training, and equipment calibration, and the quality control activities, PTIL. So these are some documents, set of documents NABL will be asking during the desktop surveillance, and the lab has to submit them. After reviewing the desktop document, the NABL will communicate the continuation of accreditation will be given to the lab for next to complete the accreditation cycle. So next, after completing the accreditation cycle, then lab has to for next after 2 years, then it is a renewal process. For renewal, then lab has to apply renewal application, and the process of renewal would be same except the document review and the pre-assessment. Otherwise, the document apply 6 months, submit the application 6 months before the expiry of accreditation, because to maintain the continuity in accreditation, because the entire process, since from the application to giving accreditation, this entire process. So, but for this, it may take some time. So, in order to avoid the break in accreditation, to maintain continuity, we always request the lab to submit 6 months before the expiry of the validity of accreditation. Samir, again, a request if you want to add anything in the brief about the accreditation.
सर बेसिकली आपने एक्रेडिटेशन प्रोसेस कैसे होता है उसके बारे में स्टेप बाय स्टेप प्रोसीजर बताया. तो अगर आपका आगे वाला स्लाइड ले, हाँ, तो बेसिकली क्या होता है कि आपको ऑनलाइन एप्लीकेशन फिलअप करना होगा. वंस अगर जैसे पहले बताया था कि प्री रिक्विजिट कंप्लीट हो जाने के बाद आपको NABL वेबसाइट पे जाके ऑनलाइन एप्लीकेशन फिलअप करना होगा. आपका क्वालिटी मैन्युअल आपको अपलोड करना होगा. क्वालिटी मैन्युअल आपने अपलोड किया, उसका पहले आपके एप्लीकेशन की स्क्रूटिनी होगी, उसमें से कोई क्वेरी आएगी वो आपको रिजोल्व करनी है. फिर आपका क्वालिटी मैन्युअल मतलब डॉक्यूमेंट रिव्यू होगा. डॉक्यूमेंट रिव्यू में कोई क्वेरी आएगी वो आपको रिजोल्व करनी है. उसके बाद प्री असेसमेंट ऑफ द लेबोरेटरी होता है, वो ऑप्शनल है. अगर आप कॉन्फिडेंट है कि आप फाइनल असेसमेंट के लिए तैयार है तो आप सीधा फाइनल असेसमेंट चूज कर सकते हैं. फाइनल असेसमेंट में अगर फाइनल असेसमेंट के बाद 30 दिन के अंदर आपको जो भी डिस्क्रिपेंसी या जो भी आपकी कमियां होगी लेबोरेटरी में जो एसेसर ने फाइंड आउट की है वो आपको क्लोज करनी होगी। पूरी जो साइकिल है वो ऑनलाइन है। अगर आपकी लेबोरेटरीज में जो कमियां पाई गई वो आप 10 दिन में फुलफिल कर देते हैं तो यू कैन स्पीड अप दिस प्रोसेस। उसके बाद आपकी कमिटी रिव्यू करती है। कमिटी के बाद जो एसेसर का रिपोर्ट है वो रिव्यू कमिटी रहती है। रिव्यू कमिटी NABL CEO को रिकमेंड करती है। देन NABL CEO विल ग्रांट यू द एक्रेडिटेशन। तो जो एक्रेडिटेशन सर्टिफिकेट आपको मिलता है वो 2 साल के लिए मिलता है। 2 साल के बाद सर ने बताया कि आपका जो 2 साल के बाद आपको 1 महीने आफ्टर 10 मंथ आपका डेस्कटॉप सर्विलेंस होगा। उसमें NABL की ओर से आपसे सर्टेन डॉक्यूमेंट मांगे जाएंगे। वो आपको स्कैन करके NABL को भेजने और वहाँ के जो एक्रेडिटेशन ऑफिसर है वो उसको रिव्यू करते हैं और आपका एनुअल सर्विलेंस के नाम से कहलाता है। अगर आपको 2 साल के बाद आपका एक्रेडिटेशन रिन्यू करना है तो 6 महीना पहले आपको वापस एप्लीकेशन NABL पोर्टल पे जाके रिन्यूअल के लिए आपको अप्लाई करना होगा। रिन्यूअल के लिए जैसे ही आप अप्लाई करेंगे आपका सीधा रीअसेसमेंट का जो शेड्यूल है वो आपकी लेबोरेटरी के ऊपर असेसमेंट होगा और दो एसेसर वहां पे आएंगे। उसमें डॉक्यूमेंट रिव्यू और प्री असेसमेंट का जो पोर्शन है आपका स्क्रूटिनी ऑफ द एप्लीकेशन है वो तो रहेगा, लेकिन डॉक्यूमेंट रिव्यू एंड द प्री असेसमेंट आपका उस रिन्यूअल में रहेगा नहीं। और देन द एक्रेडिटेशन विल बी रिन्यूड फॉर ए पीरियड ऑफ 2 years.
Thank you very much, sir. So next, so during the accreditation process, the accreditation is given for 2 years. During this 2 years period, if lab want to add any test in their scope, for example, lab is having testing of gold in their scope, and after getting accreditation after 5-6 months or after 1 year, if they want to add silver also in their scope, so then that is possible. It is possible if the lab apply for the scope extension. So for that supplementary visit will be conducted. So then that process is different, not an entire process. Only directly the visit will be conducted for audit visit. And after checking the competency of the lab for the particular test, then accreditation will be granted for that particular test also, and that will be included in the annexure of the certificate. So this. Then some of the important NABL documents. So NABL documents is available in NABL website. Already I told you that NABL website. Here, if you find this publication page, it is from the 4th tab. So publication page. So if you click the publication page, there you can find the accreditation document. So in the document, these are the important documents. Like document number is NABL 100. This is general information brochure. So NABL 100, all the detail is given, whatever I have told till now. And every detail is given about accreditation process, what is the fees, and what are the requirements. Everything is given in NABL 100. And the same way for NABL 131, just for terms and conditions to maintain NABL accreditation. And NABL 133, it is about the policy of use of NABL symbol. And yeah, just I want to inform you one more thing. If NABL, any lab is accredited for NABL, so they can use NABL symbol on the test report. It is showing that that laboratory is accredited for the particular parameter. So that shows that that the competency of the lab and the reliability of the test result what lab has reported in that test report. So for that, NABL is having the policy on use of NABL symbols. And another document, NABL 160, is guiding how to prepare the quality manual. And NABL 161 is a guide for conducting internal audit and management review. So lab can use this guide to prepare their own document and for conducting the internal audit and management review. And NABL 163 is given about the policy for participation in PT. How the PT should be participated, that is given in NABL 163. And NABL 216 is if anything goes wrong, if any non-compliance, anything is not right, not as per the procedure or as per the requirement, and what is the procedure of dealing with adverse decision, that is given in NABL 216. So all these documents are available in NABL website, so the lab can refer to get the information on that. So now coming to the fee structure. So when any lab is applying for NABL accreditation, so what would be the fee structure? So application fees would be for one product group. It means for one group means it is maybe a precious metal or precious stone. Precious metal for gold and silver, it comes under one group, and it's 11,000 per discipline per group. And if they want to add each additional group, for example, they want to know both precious metal and also precious stone, then additional 11,000 would be applicable. Generally, the lab won't apply. Labs are separate only. So for any lab, diamond testing lab, the application fees would be 11,000. Or any gold or silver testing lab, the application fees would be 11,000 only. And for scope extension, that is during the accreditation period, if they want to add any more test in the scope, it is fees applicable fees would be 5,500. For example, as I told, the gold lab is having gold in their scope, gold testing, and they want to add assaying of silver. Then they can add through the scope extension process. For the scope extension, the application fees would be 5,500. And the same way for diamond testing also. If they are testing any diamonds for 4C and they want to add any other test in addition to that, and it is possible through scope extension, and the application fees would be 5,500. And after that, as I told, during desktop surveillance, the fees would be the 11,000. And apart from this, there will be assessment charges. Assessment charges comprising of the traveling of assessors and their stay, their accommodation, everything would be borne by the laboratory, and honorarium to be paid for the assessors and overhead charges. So these comprise of all will be assessment charges. So all this detail, all the fee structure is given in NABL 100. So this is the contact detail of NABL. NABL is located at Gurugram, Haryana. And if you have any query about getting NABL accreditation or any other query related to accreditation, so you may write to info@nabl.qcin.org. So thank you very much. So by this, I am finishing my presentation.
Yeah. So thank you very much, sir, for providing guidance on procedural modalities that is involved with the for getting the accreditation as per 17025/2017 from NABL. Now we have certain questions. I have received certain questions along with the application, along with the registration form also, and during the session also. So पहला question वरुण जी आपके लिए है, whether the XRF machine is useful for the deep coated gold.
Deep coated gold in the sense
Deep coated
is the,
gold.
if the gold coating is very thick, then as I mentioned during my presentation also, gold coating जो होता है वो surface XRF जो होता है वो surface thickness surface measurement के लिए ही होता है. तो maximum penetration जो होता है gold का वो around 10 microns तक होता है. उसके नीचे उससे ज्यादा अगर कोटिंग या उससे ज्यादा अगर कोई कोटिंग करता है तो फिर वो डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है एक्सरे से डिटेक्ट करना. उसको आइदर कट करके फिर क्रॉस सेक्शन में मेजर करना पड़ेगा, तो ही आपको पता चलेगा.
दूसरा क्वेश्चन आपके लिए है, कैन वी चेक पाउडर फॉर्म मटेरियल इन EDXRF मशीन?
यस, वी पाउडर फॉर्म में भी आप चेक कर सकते हैं. उसको खाली क्या करना पड़ता है, पेलेट्स की तरह एक टैबलेट की तरह अगर आप प्रेस कर सकते हैं तो फिर आप वो रख के आप मेजर कर सकते हैं. एंड अगर पाउडर डिटेक्शन अगर कोई पूछ रहा है तो पाउडर डिटेक्शन भी हो जाता है, क्योंकि XRF में आप लो कंसंट्रेशन पाउडर विद, लेकिन आपको ये SDD डिटेक्टर यूज करना पड़ेगा ऐसे एप्लीकेशन के लिए, तो आप लो कंसंट्रेशन एलिमेंट्स भी डिटेक्ट कर सकते हैं.
थैंक यू. एक क्वेश्चन सर आपके लिए है कि एनी सब्सिडी इज प्रोवाइडेड बाय NABL?
To enable, sir.
हाँ, सब्सिडी इज प्रोवाइडेड बाय NABL
For application fees and all.
नहीं, वो शायद बात कर रहे हैं सेटिंग अप ऑफ द रिफाइनरी और उसके लिए.
No, sir, no such reference. The thing is given by NABL.
लाइसेंस फीस और सेटअप कॉस्ट के ऊपर था। लाइसेंस फी तो NABL का आपने बहुत क्लियरली बताया कि एप्लीकेशन फी क्या होगा, वो सब चीज है। दूसरा एक क्वेश्चन था, हाउ लॉन्ग डज इट टेक आफ्टर अप्लाइंग टू NABL टू गेट एक्रेडिटेशन? तो
Yes, sir. So actually, it is
आपने
it is a process. It is a process as shown in the from applying to giving accreditation. So this depends upon the lab's readiness also. The many places lab's readiness also is important, because I have told there is some time is given for taking corrective action in each stages, like document review, pre-assessment, and final assessment. So how fast the lab is ready for that activity, it is depends. So generally we are giving accreditation, we are keeping it as 100 days.
100 days.
100 days, but we have having a record also. We have given accreditation within 30 days also, 35 days also.
Right,
And
right,
there are,
I witnessed.
yeah, there are some cases also. It is months, 5 months, 6 months. Also, it is depends upon the lab's readiness also.
अगर आपने सर का जो उन्होंने प्रोसेस बताया था उसमें देखा होगा तो 15 दिन 30 डेज और 30 डेज आपको लैब के करेक्टिव एक्शन लेने के लिए, तो 60 डेज रहता है। अब लैब के हाथ में है कि वो करेक्टिव एक्शन या नॉन कन्फर्मिटीज कितना जल्दी डिस्चार्ज करती है, उस हिसाब से आपका ये जो एक्रेडिटेशन साइकिल है, एक्रेडिटेशन सर्टिफिकेट का, वो शॉर्टन अप किया जा सकता है। तो सर इज सेइंग कि वो लैब के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है कि वो कैसे रिएक्ट करती है, और उनके हिसाब से NABL ने विद इन 30 डेज भी एक्रेडिटेशन दिया है। और ऑन एन एवरेज जो टाइम है वो करीबन 100 डेज का रहता है एक्रेडिटेशन सर्टिफिकेट के लिए। दूसरा एक क्वेश्चन है सर, पूरे रिफाइनरी इज पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड परमिशन मैंडेटरी for taking NABL accreditation once accreditation?
Yes, actually, it is a requirement of the standard itself. Wherever the regulatory things is there, then the lab should compile with all those requirements also, including the pollution control board.
हाँ, तो 17025/2017 में एक रिक्वायरमेंट है, रेगुलेटरी एंड स्टैट्यूटरी रिक्वायरमेंट का क्लोज है। तो वो क्लोज के हिसाब से पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड का लाइसेंस रिफाइनरी के लिए होना जरूरी है। और मान लीजिए कि रिफाइनरी को DGFT के लिए भी अप्लाई करना है, इंपोर्ट ऑफ द डोरे, तो वहां पर भी शायद पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड का लाइसेंस मांगते हैं, बाद में आपको डोरे इंपोर्ट करने की परमिशन दी जाती है। तो और आने वाले टाइम में इंडिया में जो पोल्यूशन के हिसाब, पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल में जो अवेयरनेस आ रही है, उस हिसाब से इट इज ऑलवेज बेटर एंड एडवाइजेबल एंड प्रिफरेबल कि आप पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड का लाइसेंस लेके ही आगे बढ़े। दूसरा एक क्वेश्चन है सर, आपने कवर कर लिया, लेकिन मैं एक रिपीट करना चाहता हूँ कि वंस एक्रेडिटेशन इज ग्रांटेड टू ए रिफाइनरी, डज इट हैव टू रिन्यू एवरी ईयर और सो? आपने बोला एवरी 2 इयर्स आपको रिन्यूअल करना पड़ेगा। दूसरा एक क्वेश्चन है सर, इफ द इंटरनल ऑडिटर हैज कंप्लीटेड ISO IEC 17025/2005, it is allowed to conduct internal audit for 17025/2017 by him?
Sir, generally, the auditor who is doing the audit, he should have conversation knowledge in the 17025 standard. But if it is a quality manager who is any lab person, during assessment, the assessment team can verify his knowledge, even though he don't have a certificate of 2017. But for internal auditor is conducting by some other person outside. So lab has to demonstrate he is having the knowledge in the 17025. So by that way, the training is will helpful. Certificate will helpful to show the assessment team. So some way the lab should demonstrate he is having knowledge in 17025.
इसमें सर ने ये बताया कि अगर लैब में आपका क्वालिटी मैनेजर है या टेक्निकल मैनेजर है, उसने 17025/2005 का ट्रेनिंग लिया हुआ है, तो ड्यूरिंग असेसमेंट एसेसर के सामने उनको अपना अवेयरनेस का जो नॉलेज है, वो उनकी जो कॉम्पिटेंसी है, वो अगर एसेसर को ठीक लगता है तो देन इट इज ओके। लेकिन अगर आपने इंटरनल ऑडिट बाहर से करवाया है, कोई बाहर के आदमी से आपने अगर इंटरनल ऑडिट करवाया है, तो उनका जो कॉम्पिटेंसी है, क्योंकि वो आदमी आपका ड्यूरिंग असेसमेंट लेबोरेटरी में होगा नहीं, तो उसका उनकी कॉम्पिटेंसी के लिए जो भी डॉक्यूमेंट है वो आपको डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करने पड़ेंगे। राइट सर? Is it mandatory for both metal and diamond testing for accreditation?
Accreditation is not mandatory. It is not. It is voluntary only. But sometimes the concerned regulators or concerned department may make mandatory. But as such, it is not a mandatory.
अभी भी दोनों के लिए या तो डायमंड लेबोरेटरी है या गोल्ड लैब है या रिफाइनरी है. डायमंड लेबोरेटरी के लिए तो खैर एक्रेडिटेशन मैंडेटरी नहीं है. इट इज वॉलंटरी एक्सरसाइज है. लेकिन गोल्ड लेबोरेटरी या गोल्ड रिफाइनरी जो भी सेटअप करना चाहते हैं उनका अल्टीमेट एम होता है कि या तो वो डोरे इंपोर्ट करे या तो वो स्क्रैप को रिफाइन करेंगे. तो जब आपको डोरे इंपोर्ट करने के लिए आपको डीजीएफटी से लाइसेंस लेना पड़ता है और डीजीएफटी से जब आप लाइसेंस लेते हैं तो उसके लिए आपको बीआईएस रिकॉग्नाइज रिफाइनरी होनी चाहिए. वो डीजीएफटी की रिक्वायरमेंट है. अब बीआईएस रिकॉग्नाइज रिफाइनरी करने के लिए एनएबीएल एक्रीडिटेशन मैंडेटरी है. मतलब जो लेबोरेटरी है उसका एक्रीडिटेशन एज पर 17025/2017 इज मैंडेटरी. तो रिफाइनरी के लिए लैब का आपको एक्रेडिटेशन लेना मैंडेटरी है. उसके बाद आपको डीजीएफटी से डोरे इंपोर्ट करने का लाइसेंस मिल सकता है और देन विद इन अ ईयर आपको आपकी जो रिफाइनरी है वो बीआईएस से रिकॉग्नाइज करवानी पड़ेगी. तो इन अनदर वे, इन इनडायरेक्ट वे, फॉर द रिफाइनरी एक्रेडिटेशन ऑफ द लैब इज मैंडेटरी इफ यू वुड लाइक टू इंपोर्ट द डोरे. दूसरे सर क्वेश्चन है, एक क्वेश्चन है, ऑल्दो इट इज ज्यादातर लोग पूछ रहे हैं कि व्हाट इज द कॉस्ट ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट. तो कॉस्ट ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट में जब भी आप रिफाइनरी डालते हैं तो रिफाइनिंग के लिए आपको एक्वारिजिया के हिसाब से रिफाइनिंग इक्विपमेंट लेने पड़ेंगे. मीन्स अगर आप रिफाइनरी को ब्रॉड स्पेक्ट्रम में देखते हैं तो उसमें 4 सेगमेंट आते हैं. एक है आपका सोर्सिंग ऑफ द डोरे मटेरियल, दूसरा है आपका रिफाइनिंग एक्टिविटी, थर्ड इज योर इन हाउस लेबोरेटरी दैट इज द फायर एसे लेबोरेटरी, एंड फोर्थ इज योर मीटिंग. मीटिंग मतलब या तो आप बुलियन बना के मीटिंग जो 4 सेक्शन आपके रहते हैं तो वो 4 सेक्शन में दैट ऑल डिपेंड्स कि आप कौन से इक्विपमेंट ले रहे हैं, कौन सी कैपेसिटी के ले रहे हैं. कोई 2 kg का रिफाइनिंग इक्विपमेंट लेगा, कोई 5 kg का लेगा, कोई 6 kg का लेगा, कोई 25 kg का लेगा, कोई 100 kg का लेगा, बेस्ड ऑन द बिजनेस प्रोजेक्शन दैट दे आर एक्सपेक्टिंग. तो इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू कमेंट एनीथिंग ऑन द कॉस्ट ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट विदाउट अंडरस्टैंडिंग द बिजनेस पोटेंशियल ऑफ ए पर्टिकुलर पर्सन. बट एनीवे, कल जो सेमिनार में थे, कल जो वेबिनार में थे, उन्होंने सुना होगा कि लेबोरेटरी सेटअप करने के लिए द कॉस्ट इज अप्रोक्सीमेटली बिटवीन 50 लाख टू 75 लाख रुपीस, ऐसा कल डिस्कशन हुआ था. उसके बाद आपका मिंटिंग और रिफाइनिंग के लिए देन यू हैव टू डिसाइड. बट एज फार एज माय नॉलेज और माय अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज कंसर्न, विदाउट लैंड एंड विदाउट बिल्डिंग, प्रोबेबली रिफाइनिंग और मिंटिंग के साथ द कॉस्ट विल बी टू द ट्यून ऑफ समवेयर अराउंड 1.25 करोड़ रुपीस. 1.10 to 1.25, that all depends on the which capacity of the equipment you are buying. दूसरा क्वेश्चन सर है, ऑल्दो वो डिफिकल्ट है आंसर करना, लेकिन उनका क्वेश्चन है 1 kg गोल्ड 91.6 ornaments to convert in 999 gold. What is refinery cost? How much time it takes for making 999 gold? तो 1 kg गोल्ड के आपका 91.6 ऑर्नामेंट है. बेसिकली वो स्क्रैप मटेरियल है. स्क्रैप मटेरियल को आपको रिफाइन करना पड़ेगा. रिफाइन एक बार ये से रिफाइन करेंगे तो आपका 999.2 या 999.3 या 999.5 तक आपका गोल्ड पाउडर आएगा. गोल्ड पाउडर को आपको वापस फायर ऐसे करके आपको वापस उसको 999 में कन्वर्ट करना पड़ेगा. सो दैट एवरीथिंग, दैट होल साइकिल 1 kg will take somewhere around 8 to 10 hours. तो that all depends कि refining cost है कि आप कौन सा equipment यूज कर रहे हैं, कौन सा setup यूज कर रहे हैं. That all depends कि उसके ऊपर refining cost पूरा depend करता है. दूसरा क्वेश्चन है सर, legalities involved in the refinery setup. तो refinery setup के लिए legalities में आपने बताया कि NABL accreditation lab का चाहिए, लीगल आइडेंटिटी ऑफ लेबोरेटरी चाहिए, पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड का लाइसेंस चाहिए, बीआईएस का रिकॉग्निशन चाहिए. तो एज ऑन डे इतनी लीगलिटीज उसमें इन्वॉल्व है, एक्रेडिटेशन, रिकॉग्निशन, pollution control board license, and if you would like to import the door, then DGFT license. Any government schemes on gold refinery setup, MSME schemes and all? It is very difficult to comment as far as the setup of the refinery. For the setup of the refinery, any scheme is there by the government or not. लेकिन कल जो BIS का presentation था उसमें साहब ने बताया था कि लेबोरेटरी सेटअप करने के लिए आपके पास BIS सब्सिडी देती है इन पर्टिकुलर रीजन, जैसे नॉर्थ ईस्ट रीजन है या कोई ऐसा डिस्ट्रिक्ट है कि जहाँ पर आपका हॉलमार्किंग सेंटर नहीं है, वहाँ पे अगर आप हॉलमार्किंग सेंटर डालते हैं तो उसमें BIS सब्सिडी देती है। एक जनरल क्वेश्चन है, हाउ डिड आई गेट द परमिशन फॉर मेकिंग माय ओन लेबोरेटरी एंड वेयर आई हैव टू टेक द परमिशन? द क्वेश्चन इज नॉट क्लियर, लेकिन मैं समझ रहा हूँ कि वो ऐसे लेबोरेटरी के लिए होगा। तो ऐसे लेबोरेटरी सेटअप करने के लिए आपको कोई मेरे हिसाब से लीगल आइडेंटिटी या पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड का परमिशन लेना होगा। अगर आपको डोरे इंपोर्ट करना है या रिफाइनरी सेटअप करनी है तो आपको फिर उस हिसाब से आगे की परमिशन लेनी पड़ेगी। I think we have covered the, just hold on, I will just see. एक क्वेश्चन है सर, इंडिविजुअल क्वेश्चन है, वो क्वेश्चन है, डियर सर, आवर लैब एक्रेडिटेशन सर्टिफिकेट अबाउट टू एक्सपायर आफ्टर 2 months and we are now under 17025/2005, so kindly suggest us should we should go for transit or renewal. I request the lab personnel to contact the accreditation officer. This is not the right platform to discuss the individual issue. Fee structure displayed is much higher, which is shown. Please clarify. We should know the total cost approximate if possible. Sir, accreditation के लिए total cost कितना होता है?
The fee structure actually, in fact, a couple of years back, it was 22,000. It was reduced to 11,000. In fact, accreditation cost actually I had displayed that there is a cost. We cannot tell exactly how cost it will be. So it may be the application for 10,000, so it may be around 40-50,000 approximately for the process of this accreditation.
एक क्वेश्चन है फिशर के लिए, can high purity can be checked? If yes, what is the accuracy?
So as far as accuracy is concerned, it is always depending on how homogeneous the mixing is done for the gold. So if it is highly homogeneous and you're talking about pure gold, then we can of say 999, then we can say it can be plus minus 0.05.
0.05. So high purity means you are treating that as a 999.
999 gold.
So lab should not test the 49 on the XRF, or maybe
no 49 also can be checked. I'm saying 49. What happens is as far as X-ray is concerned, it has its own limitation. So we say that if you go for 49, you can measure it. If it is completely homogeneous, then it will definitely show.
Because see, generally at the end of the aquaria, people are getting the 999.3 or 999.4 in the form of the powder.
Correct.
So now suppose they are measuring 999.5 in the powder form, then what is the accuracy? Whether it will be 999.4 or 999.6?
It will be within that plus minus 0.05, whatever.
0.05 percentage.
Percentage.
Okay. Another question, sir, does refinery is accredited by NABL? It only lab?
Yes, it is only for the lab.
Yes.
Not for the entire accreditation.
Yeah, so what I understand that NABL is only giving the accreditation to the in-house laboratory of the refinery. Later on, they will have to get it recognized from the BIS as far as the refinery is concerned. एक क्वेश्चन है, Fisher provides handheld type instrument for checking gold bars and gold coins up to 18 mm for purity check.
Yeah, so I was coming to this. Some people had asked if there is thick coating of gold which is being done. So this can be checked for a quality purpose, wherein you have these gold bars which are important. तो अगर वो imported gold bars में कोई foreign material डालता है उसके बीच में, so using these handheld instrument, you can check up to a thickness of 18 mm कि उसमें pure gold है या उसमें already कुछ element metal उन लोग ने डाला है. But it has to be a thick plate, या जैसे उन्होंने पूछा था plating किया हुआ है gold का, तो thick plating अगर किया हुआ है तो वो identify हो जाएगा in a non-destructive method.
एक question है cost of refinery. I think we have already discussed along with the laboratory. एक question है for scrap refinery necessary to get the NABL accreditation license.
As I told, it is not mandatory for getting accreditation as such, but it is depends upon their the regulators or their customers, what they are expecting from the refinery.
Yeah, बार question यही आ रहा है, is necessary to get NABL accreditation for setting up of refinery unit. Refinery unit setup करने के लिए आपको NABL का accreditation basically लेने की जरूरत नहीं है, लेकिन आपका बिजनेस प्लान क्या है? अगर आप डोरे इंपोर्ट करना चाहते हैं, DGFT का लाइसेंस लेना है आपको डोरे इंपोर्ट करने के लिए, तो लेबोरेटरी का एक्रेडिटेशन NABL से लेना पड़ेगा और रिफाइनरी का रिकॉग्निशन आपको BIS से लेना पड़ेगा. देन ओनली यू विल बी एबल टू इंपोर्ट द डोरे. अब दूसरा क्वेश्चन ये आता है कि अगर हम स्क्रैप मटेरियल का रिफाइनिंग करेंगे, तो स्क्रैप मटेरियल का रिफाइनिंग करने के बाद आपका फाइनल प्रोडक्ट आएगा या तो 995 या तो 999 इन द फॉर्म ऑफ 995 और 995. अगर उसके ऊपर आपको BIS का मार्क लगा के आपको वो प्रोडक्ट सेल करना है, देन ऑटोमेटिकली यू नीड द रिकॉग्निशन ऑफ द refinery from the BIS, and to get the BIS recognition you must have the NABL accreditation for the in-house laboratory of the refinery. लेकिन आपको ऐसे ही बुलियन सेल करना है without BIS mark, then I don't think, in my opinion, it is required, whether it is BIS recognition or whether it is a NABL accreditation. How to start gold minting and hallmarking? I think we have covered this yesterday. Hallmarking, as far as the setting up of the hallmarking center is concerned, we have covered it yesterday. And for the minting, of course, hallmarking is the activity for the jewelry, and minting is altogether a different activity. It is the part of the refinery. So you need to work out the business plan, whether you would like to enter into the hallmarking or simultaneously you would like to enter into the minting. Is XRF technology capable enough to check 49? And if it can't, then what is the technology to check 49? I think Mr. Varun Kumar has already said that you can check the 49 gold with the XRF also, subject to condition that it should be homogeneous. Right, sir?
Yes.
I think we have tried to cover almost all the questions which we received, and hopefully we are able to answer satisfactory. We are able to give the satisfactory answer to the participant. Due to some limitation on that costing part, we cannot say too much on that part. So we try to avoid that, and we try to avoid to name certain make of the equipment also. Sir rightly said that equipment should meet the specific requirements. So now I hand over the platform to Mr. Rajat.
Thank you so much, Samir bhai. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Ram Prasad, Deputy Director NABL. इन्होंने अपना वैल्यूएबल समय अपने शेड्यूल से निकाल के हमारे ऑडियंस को जो आज नॉलेज शेयर किया है, वी आर deeply thankful to you, heartily thanking you for the same. We also thank Fisher for extending their partnership, technological partnership with to GJEPC, and helping us spread awareness about this technology and come up with the business opportunity for the audience of GJEPC and members of GJEPC. We thank Fisher. We also thank Samir bhai, Samir Joshi, ED, IDI, for taking up a valuable time from his schedule and providing us his valuable time and knowledge during the 2 sessions of hallmarking yesterday and today's refinery session. Thank you, Samir bhai. We would also like to thank all the audience who joined us yesterday and today as well. I would like to take the opportunity of thanking our regional chairman Dinesh Bhai Navadia and senior director Jilpa Sheth for providing this platform to our audience so that they can explore the possibility of new business opportunities. Thank you so much and hope to see you in our next
Just,
webinar.
just hold on, Rajat bhai. One more question also I received. So it's better to just one last. How much space is required for DGFT license refinery unit? DGFT is not asking anything as far as the space is concerned for the refinery, but the space is decided by the requirement of the standard and setting up of the वेरियस इक्विपमेंट आप कौन सा इक्विपमेंट चूज करते हैं उसकी साइज क्या है अलग अलग डिपार्टमेंट में क्या आप सेटअप करना चाहते हैं आपका वॉल्यूम ऑफ बिजनेस क्या है स्ट्रॉन्ग रूम की फैसिलिटी क्या है तो ये सब चीजें देख के फिर आपको स्पेस डिसाइड करना पड़ता है अदरवाइज डीजीएफटी में जहां तक मेरा नॉलेज है या एनएबीएल में या बीआईएस में कहीं पर भी कोई जगह पे इतना मिनिमम स्पेस रिक्वायरमेंट चाहिए ऐसा कहीं पे कुछ लिखा नहीं है कोई भी स्टैंडर्ड में लेकिन आपको स्टैंडर्ड की रिक्वायरमेंट फुलफिल करनी है
Okay. Thank you, Samir sir. Thank you, both the speakers, and thank you, audience. See you in the next webinar from GJPC. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.